What's up, everybody? This is Denard Span, and I'm on the Jim on Base show.
Welcome back to another episode of the Jim on Base Show. For today's very special guest, we have on someone who played 11 years in the big leagues. He spent time with the Twins, the Nationals, and the Giants. Please welcome the great Denard Span. Denard, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Jim?
Doing good, and it's nice to see you. You're looking good, and you still have the beard going on.
Of course, man. I still get my workouts in about 4 days a week, and the beard. I don't see that going anywhere time soon. So
Yeah, I was wondering, is that a year-round thing? Do you ever shave it, or?
you know what? The last time I shaved my beard, it was probably during my Minnesota Twins days, to be
Oh,
honest.
wow.
That's over 11 years ago.
So you've had it pretty much your whole adult life then, right? Because I've never
I
seen you without one.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, it's just kind of just kind of a staple, and just a look that I kind of have inherited. I think it's a genetic thing as well. My dad has had one his whole life, and so has my older brother. So
Okay.
I think it's just a span thing, if you will.
Well, you had your MLB career and it was all about you, right? And now you've kind of transitioned into being a dad, and now it's probably all about the kids, right? Probably shuffling them around and doing dad duty, right?
It is, man, and it's been such a joy. Like you said, pretty much my whole entire life and career was all about putting myself first, and it's just been awesome to set that aside and pour into my family and my kids. Man, it's a beautiful thing. Just getting opportunity and responsibility, just to lead them and just give them as much knowledge and experiences and wisdom as possible.
And I think you have three kids, right?
That is correct. We just had a baby daughter about 3 months ago. So
Oh, wow.
uh,
Congrats.
yeah, we got a 5 year old, a 3 year old, and now a 3 month old.
Wow, so you got your hands full.
Yeah, we do, man. We do. It's long days, hectic days. Been pretty early this morning. Taking kids to school, which we get a little bit of a break, but then come the afternoon, it's game on.
Yeah. Well, what's your guys' philosophy on kids when it comes to like the TV and the iPad? Do you let them watch or?
We let them watch, but we try not to, give them as much screen time as
Mm,
as we possibly cannot. We use it as needed. Unfortunately, I say unfortunately because our kitchen table where they eat at is like the TV is right there. Um, so we'll let them watch it, as long as they're eating and as long as they are being responsive to when we call their names, and asking them to listen or asking them to eat their food or whatever. But just to put them on an iPad or just cut on the TV, just to give ourselves a break as parents, we don't do that. We don't do that. The only time I've seen my wife do it is if she has all three kids or something like that. She needs to
mm.
occupy one of them until she comes from upstairs or comes from doing something else. But we try not to just put a screen in front of their faces.
Well, are they sleeping through the night then? Is the baby doing good so far? Or?
Yeah, the baby's actually been sleeping pretty good. You have your sporadic nights here and there, where you have some episodes, and that's what honestly that's what even the two older ones, they still have like little night terrors or dreams and stuff like that. But for the most part, they're sleeping pretty good.
Well, that's good. Well, we're talking about the kids now, and that leads into your wife, Anne, right? Like, how did you guys meet?
We met down here in Tampa, Florida, believe it or not. She's from St. Cloud, Minnesota. A lot of people, when we meet them, they're from Minnesota. They think that we met when I played there.
Hmm.
That was not the case. I believe she was in college when I was playing for the Twins. But fast forward, it was actually the year before my first year in San Francisco. That off season before I signed there, I transitioned to a new workout facility, new gym, and she was working out. She's a she was a professional women's hockey player. She was an Olympian, and she was training there. She moved down to Florida, I think, in like 2014 or something like that. And this was, I think, 2016, 2015, 2016 when we first met. And yeah, I mean, one thing led to another, and yeah, next thing you know, we're getting married.
Yeah, like you said, she's a Olympian. She plays hockey, has a silver medal for United States in 2014, right? So I wouldn't
Right.
mess with her, being a hockey player.
Yeah, she has a pretty smile, very humble, very mild tempered overall, but she definitely does have that competitive streak and uh, yeah, I don't know, I don't even know the word, but she, you don't definitely want to be on her bad side. I can definitely tell you that.
Well, I was curious about that since you've both competed at some of the highest levels. When do you see that competitive nature come out of her? Like, since you're both used to that, has it kind of spilled out into marriage or anything that maybe you didn't see coming?
Yeah, definitely, most definitely. When we're trying to win debates or arguments around the house, comes out. She doesn't give up for nothing, and I'm the same way. And sometimes that's not the best, to have, but best thing to have in the house. But yeah, she's super competitive. I mean, honestly, her being a professional athlete has helped me out just with my lifestyle, with dieting and
Hmm.
recovery, even post playing. But the 2 years that we were married at the end of my career, it was awesome because I had a wife that understood what it took to play at a high level, and what it was like after a good day or a bad day of competition. And yeah, we click, and we work together. That's another thing. Is her understanding what it's like to be a part of a team, and at the end of the day, here at the house, it's all about that. It's all about us communicating, being on the same page.
Well, that's great. And, we've talked about a little bit about your family. And I know you grew up with a single mom, right? So just curious, does that experience kind of help you savor your ability to be able to be present with your kids' life?
Most definitely, most definitely. I think all the experiences that we go through in life, that helps us to become who we are as adults, right?
Mhm.
And I'm thankful for my experiences as a kid, and for sure, I believe that because of how I grew up, it's made me want to be that much more present, and put my imprint, on my family. Emphasizing being a family man, and also, of course, my children. So
Mm.
I would say most definitely.
Well, I know you have the Denard Span Foundation too, and that helps single parent family homes, right? And I know it's something you're really involved in, and wanted to have you talk about that.
Most definitely. Yeah, it's near and dear to my heart. My mom raised myself and my older brother for, I believe, 12 years.
Mm.
Yeah, because my mom got remarried when I was 14. And so from like 3 to 14, 11, 12 years of my life. And, I just witnessed, her, do it all. And, it wasn't easy. You know what I mean? She had to, go to work every single day. She had to make sure that, she, kept the lights on for us, provided food, and got us to and from practice.
Mm.
And as a parent now, like I don't see how she was able to do that. So for me, once I got to a certain point in my career, I wanted to be able to give back to a cause that was near and dear to my heart, something that I firsthand experienced. And there's unfortunately there's a lot of broken families
Mm.
in the U.S. and so I believe the work that we're doing is making an impact, and also too I think just being an advocate and an example for these parents and for these kids, to give them hope that just because you grow up in a single parent family household doesn't mean that you still can't accomplish whatever your goals or dreams are.
Yeah, and that's great. I know you're involved with it heavily. It has its own Instagram page and on social media, so people can check out more with the Denard Span Foundation. But when you're not being dad, husband, running the foundation, what are your hobbies away from baseball? Are you into golf or anything like that?
I'm working on that. I'm working on that. I don't have many hobbies, man. I'm working on that. A lot of people telling me that you need to pick up some hobbies, but honestly, this is sad now that I'm done playing baseball. But my hobby was playing sports. Growing up as a kid, that was my hobby, that was my outlet. So in retirement, I'm going through that. The transition of stepping away from the game. I'm still involved in the game to an extent with the Rays, but yeah, I'd have to find time to get out there and golf and or just explore different things about
Mm.
myself.
Well, I know you're a Christian, right? And I've
Correct.
seen posts of you like being at church and stuff like that. So, are you the type of person that sings, or are you kind of lip syncing? Like, what's kind of your strategy?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm not a big singer. I am not a big singer. Yeah, I'm definitely a lip singer. I would say, thank myself. The song has to really hit me, hit my soul, my spirit, and in order for me to like really, project my voice. But I don't mind clapping or tapping my hand on my thigh or my hip or whatever. But yeah, definitely not a huge singer.
Yeah, because there's nothing worse than when the music kind of gets low. You don't want to be caught belting it out in that little moment, you know?
That that is very true. And then on top of that, if you are, off key or off beat, you don't want to be embarrassed by that.
Yeah. Many guests I've had on lately have been like left-handed, and I'm left-handed myself.
Yeah.
You threw and bat left. So, do you believe what they say about left-handers being more creative, or
I don't I'm indifferent about that. I can't
yeah?
yeah.
So no one tried to convert you along the way or anything like that?
To being right-handed?
Yeah, because I've heard that too. That never happened to me.
I don't recall that. I don't recall that.
Well, I had to ask because more people than I thought are actually left-handed, so it's nice to know there's more of us out in the world.
Most definitely. Yeah, most definitely. I mean, it was definitely, awkward as a kid. All of like the school desks were, made for right-handed writers and, and stuff like that. But yeah, I've always been proud to be left-handed because I always felt more, you know.
Yeah. Well, your first name actually isn't Denard, right? It starts with a K, and I don't want to mess it up, so I'll let you say it. But
Oh,
I was
how about you?
wondering.
How about you make an attempt to say it?
Okay, I was gonna say, is it Kunta?
No,
See, yeah,
no, yeah, you butchered that one. It
Ki-
is Dante.
Chiante. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was curious, what's the origin of that, and did you change it to Denard to kind of lay low then, or so people don't mess it up, or?
No, well, the origin of it, I have no idea. My mom blames my dad for for naming. She takes no credit for that name. And as far as the Dinar is my middle name, so I as a kid, I definitely did not like my first name, because all of my teachers on the first day of school would butcher it. And so Denard was just easier, obviously, to recognize and
Hmm.
pronounce. And yeah, it just kind of stuck with me. As an adult, it doesn't bother me now, but as a kid, I couldn't stand it.
Well, you had a brother growing up too, right? Did you have any other siblings, or?
No, just an older brother.
And is he older or younger?
He's older. He's 4 years older than me.
Oh,
I
okay,
ha- I had step siblings, but that wasn't until later in life.
gotcha. Well,
Yeah,
were you guys both big sports fans growing up then, or
most definitely, most definitely. That's all we did was watch and play sports. That
well,
was
who are your
basically it.
teams?
Baseball team growing up was the Atlanta Braves.
Okay,
Growing up in Tampa, Florida, when I was a kid or when I was younger, the Rays weren't here. I don't believe the Rays came to Tampa until I was maybe like seventh or eighth grade, maybe.
okay.
And so, when they first came, they weren't that good. The Braves in the early mid '90s or mid '90s were, in the World Series almost every year, and they had good players,
Yeah.
exciting to watch. They were on TV every night, TBS. Um, and then I would say my second favorite team was the Cubs because they were on TV every day as
Hmm.
well with WGN. Um, and then football. Are you going just every sport like every sport my favorite teams or what do you?
Yeah, who were your just like your main teams and maybe players you grew up liking too?
Yeah, football. I can't say I was a diehard team, but I mean, I think the two most popular teams in football back then when I was a kid were the 49ers
Mm.
and the even though they were rivals, I liked both teams. Like I
Oh,
like because
okay.
I players on both teams. You know what I mean? That, of course, the
Yeah.
Jerry Rice, the T.O.s, the Steve Youngs,
Hmm.
the Ricky Waters, and then the Cowboys. The Emmitt Smith, the Troy Aikmans, the Novaceks, the Michael Irvins, the Alvin Harpers. I say Alvin Harper, yeah, Alvin Harper. So I was more of a fan of players, and then basketball, of course, the Chicago Bulls.
Oh, there you
My
go.
so
Yeah, I was wondering because I've seen you in some posts wearing some Tampa Bay Bucks jerseys. So,
yeah. As a kid, I can know I definitely can say even though I'm from here, the Bucks were not that good of a team. In the 80s, 90s, 2000. I mean, early 2000s, they won the Super Bowl. Yeah, I've always said I'm a default Bucks fan because this is where I'm from.
yeah.
But they didn't have any players on the team that I
Mm,
was super fans of.
okay. Because I was gonna ask you about Tom Brady. It's like, can you imagine playing at his age?
No, no. I can't imagine playing at 45 years old. No chance. Not even baseball. Can't imagine football.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't. Yeah, he's definitely defying the odds.
Well, like you said, you're in Florida area, and to me, it's kind of almost like Arizona, where I've asked a few guys that live in Scottsdale. Do you ever go to the store and see people that you played against or played with? Seems like there's a good amount of baseball players that live in Florida area. So, do you ever see anybody around there? Or
Yeah, most definitely. I see. It's in Tampa. There's a lot of homegrown, big leaguers,
hmm,
minor league ball players here, and also too, there's a lot of spring training facilities around here. So a lot of players that aren't from here, that they spend their time during the off season here. They train here. So I would say, yeah, semi regularly, I will run into, baseball players. I ran
hmm.
into Tino Martinez last night
Oh,
at a
cool,
restaurant. So I mean, it's pretty. I would say it's pretty common.
nice. Well, you went to high school at Tampa Catholic. So, was there any other career goals you had, or did you feel like baseball was always the way?
No, growing up, I played baseball, basketball, and football. And I would say by the time I got to 10th grade, I knew basketball was not going to be my sport. I was not going to be 6'4", 6'5". And so I would say football was number one for me up until the end of my junior year. I always had people tell me that they thought I was more talented in baseball, but for me, growing up here in Florida, like football is number one. It takes precedent over all sports, and so yeah, it wasn't until the end of my junior year, after the baseball season and that summer when I went to a bunch of showcases, that was when baseball became number one because I started to get highly recruited.
Mm.
And going into my senior year, that was the first time in my life where football was on the back burner.
Well, 2002, you were drafted by the Twins in the first round. And is it true that the Rockies tried to do like a pre-draft deal with you?
I see you did your homework.
A little bit.
You did your that is very true. That is very true.
So, what made you not go with the Rockies and wait for the draft?
That's that I think that situation is one of those things where I don't know if I'll ever know the truth of like what really happened. I can only tell you what was told to me, and being all in all honesty, um, in 2001. Well, the Rockies had the ninth pick of the draft that year. In 2001, the ninth pick, I can't remember these numbers, but let's just say they got that the ninth pick got $2.4 million. I don't know why that number sticks out to me. So now, fast forward to 2002, it's a year later. The cost of milk is not the same as what it was in 2001. It's 2002 now. So the Rockies had the ninth pick, and all along, my take and my agent's take was, as long we'll sign at the ninth pick as long as it's more than what the ninth pick got the year before.
Mm.
And when they made their offer, that offer was not, it was either the same or it was a little less than what the ninth pick got the year before. And we said no.
Mm.
And so I don't know what, I don't know what was obviously said between my agent and their team. I mean, in the Rockies, I should say. But that was pretty much what happened, and
Okay.
ended up falling to the Twins at the 20th.
Well, when you're with the Twins in the minor leagues, was that kind of the first time you were away from home at that period in your life for so long? Like, was it tough for you, or?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I mean, 18, 19 years old. I had been away from home, with different showcases and stuff like that, but not for as long of a period as for a whole season, 6 months. So yeah, it was definitely difficult in a lot of ways. It took some um, getting used to it, adjustments I had to make, just as far as, just maturing and growing up, and, learning how to, fend for myself, and just take care of, my body, and different things like that.
When I was wondering too, when you're in the Twins organization, did you have like a good core of guys that you're able to rise through the minors with together?
Yeah, there was a couple guys that, I'm trying to think from like from like when I first got drafted, like we got up to like double A, and then they might have, either got traded or got
Mm.
released. But then from like high A to like to the big leagues, there was a couple guys that I came up with. Not many, it's the percentages, when you really look at how many minor league players there are compared to like how many guys actually make the big leagues, the numbers are not in the player's favor. But there was probably, I don't know, maybe two or three, four guys that got drafted around the same time as me, or we came up together, that were able to play in the big leagues.
Mm. Well, that's good. And speaking about your MLB debut, you broke in April 6, 2008 against the Royals. What was your call-up story like, and did you know it was coming?
I definitely did not know it was coming. Um, Going into spring training that year, we had traded Johan Santana
Uh,
for Carlos Gomez, Phil Humber, and two other pitching prospects. The year before that, I was in AAA. Um, the year before, that same year in spring training, I played really well. I went to AAA, got off to a horrible start in Rochester. First half, I don't know, I hit 210, 220, not the start I wanted. I was hoping, to maybe get called up that year. Second half of the season, I played really well, hit over 300, finished the season respectably. Um, and then didn't get called up. And that was Torrey Hunter that was
uh,
Torrey Hunter's last year on the Twins, and he signed to go to Anaheim. And so we trade Johan Santana for Carlos Gomez, and coming to spring training, didn't make the team, and I got sent out to AAA. Definitely wasn't happy about that. Felt like I was ready to go, but the timing, it wasn't my time yet. And first week of the AAA season, Michael Kadire was in the big leagues. I think he either broke his thumb or finger or something, and I got called up like literally the second or third game, and while I was in AAA. And it was after a game. We were in Richmond, Virginia, playing the Braves, and got back to the hotel after the game. And I remember our team trainer. I was in my hotel room. Team trainer calls me at like 10:30, 11 o'clock, which he never does. And so he just was like, "Yeah, hey, Denard, come down to the lobby. I got to tell you something." And so, I just remember, that ride down the elevator, like kind of sensing it or feeling like something was awkward and this was, unusual, that, this could be it. But when you spend 6 years in the minor leagues, like, you're kind of conditioned to be a pessimist, to be honest. And you're just like, I was going down the elevator, like excited, but at the same time, like trying to keep myself contained, because I didn't want to get disappointed if it
mm,
was not that. You know what I mean? And as soon as the doors opened up, our AAA manager was right there, and he looked at me and said, "Son, you're going to the big leagues." And I don't know what else he said after that. I just remember like literally like falling into his chest, into his arms, and falling in, having tears come down my face. But yeah, it was a memorable moment for me for sure.
Yeah, it's an awesome story, and it makes me wonder, was your family there? I imagine you were nervous.
Definitely nervous. My fam, I don't. Yeah, I think my mom. I don't know why I don't remember this. I can't remember if my mom was there for the first game or not. I want to say she was, but the turnaround was so quick though. Like I
Yeah.
got told that night, and the next day I was in Minnesota. So
Mm.
I don't know why I don't remember if she was there or not.
Do you remember who your first hit was off of, and what kind of hit it was?
Yep. I know the pitcher's last name was Vasquez for the Chicago White Sox. It wasn't my first game; it was my second game.
Oh, okay.
I was the first game against the Royals. I was like 0 for 3, I think. And then the next day we traveled to Chicago. I'm having a brain fart on what his first name was, but it was an opposite field single to left field.
Is it Javier Vasquez?
Javier
Okay.
Vasquez, yeah.
Yeah, we go to the same rehab facility.
Oh,
Um,
really?
for I had surgery, and then ironically enough, they said, yeah, he used to sit right there, and then
What?
he got arrested for cocaine. I was like, okay, that's interesting.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
so, so I didn't know he's from Northern California,
No, I think he's from some other country, and then
Mexico.
yeah,
Okay,
and he played on
yeah.
the A's, and that's when he was over here. Yeah,
Okay, that's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. A little tidbit for you.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, so who was your first home run off of, and do you have it? And do you have your first hit?
Yeah, it's somewhere. If it's not behind me, it's in another trophy case that I have in my house.
Oh, cool.
First home run, Mark Burley. Yeah, I'll
Oh,
never forget
nice.
Mark Burley. Yeah,
That's a good name to get it off of too.
most definitely, most definitely. He was a tough pitcher. Yeah, he was always fun to go against. Early in my career, I had a lot of success off of him, and I just remember now, as like being older now, like he knew I was having success off of him, and it got to the point. I think it was like '08. I just saw him well. I hit him really well, and then '09, like first half of the season, I hit him really well, and then I remember like towards 2009, 2010, like he started playing mind games with me.
Uh,
Like he would get me out. He would he would just look at me and go, yeah, just do little stuff to have fun. And I now realize like, yeah, he was playing little mental games with me. And I feel like after that, I didn't have as much success off of him. But yeah, that definitely, he was definitely a good pitcher and a good guy to compete against.
well, you spoke about coming up there, your debut. You had such a great rookie year too, right? You hit 294. You had 18 stolen bases, 6 home runs, and 347 at bats. So I had Ray Durham on the other day, and I spoke to him about his rookie year. And do you feel
Mm-hmm.
like the key is just that consistency, being able to stay up for a while and get a rhythm?
Yeah, most definitely. I think for me, once I realized, realized and figured out that this is the same game. It's the same game as it is an A ball, little league. It's just the stadiums are bigger, lights are a little bit brighter. I think once I figured that out and got comfortable and understood that I belong there, it was like, let's go. This
Mm.
is what I've been, waiting for my entire life is to be at this level. You know what I mean? So obviously coming in, as a rookie, all eyes are on you. In some ways, people are, waiting to see if you're going to fail. And for me, it was like, I've been waiting my whole life for this. So, I'm gonna come up here. I'm gonna, be prepared, each and every day. I'm going to do the things I need to do, and show and prove why I belong here. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
those first 2 years in the big leagues are crucial because it's going to determine, if you are going to be an up and down guy, a platoon guy, or if you're going to be, a mainstay, or if you're serious or for real, Major League Baseball player.
Well, that second season, you hit 311, 8 home runs, 23 stolen bases, over 500 at bats. So no sophomore slump for you. So that's great.
No, after my second year, I knew I was a big leaguer.
Mm.
After the first year, I was confident, but part of me was like, I heard the sophomore slump, and the league, begins to adjust to you. And even though I'd come off of a good year, it was still, a little bit of question or doubt, with some people, within the organization, within the game, within myself a little bit. But once I came out that second year and was able to back it up, it was like, okay, yeah, I'm here.
Mhm. Well, you got to play for Ron Gardenhire while you're in Minnesota, and I always liked seeing him as a kid growing up. He always reminded me of kind of like the Keebler elf. He kind of looks like him to me. He has the rosy cheeks, you know.
Yeah,
Was
going
he
there.
was he a cool guy to play with?
He was. He just good personality, good sense of humor. Always, just the king of one-liners.
Hmm.
And he was a manager that you knew had your back. During the course of a game, if it was a questionable call or anything like that, he wasn't afraid to come out there and let the umpire know or just back us up. Even if we were wrong and he saw us complaining, he would come out there and get tossed for us. And I always loved that about him. He had our backs as players, and yeah, he was definitely one of my favorite managers.
After 5 seasons, you get traded to the Nationals. So was that hard for you? Like, how did you handle all that?
Yeah, that was difficult, man. That was difficult. I spent 10 years with the Minnesota Twins. My last year or so, the situation, became a little rocky there. So I knew it was time. It was probably the best time for me to move forward, and they traded me. But it was difficult because I had been there my entire adult life at that point. From
Mhm.
18 to 28, 29 years old, and that's all I knew, right? And so going into a new organization, it was difficult. Some getting used to, because everything that I did, for the Twins, like it meant nothing because I was
Mhm.
on a new team. So it was difficult, but it was exciting. I was motivated. I was pumped up, and I was excited to be coming to the East Coast, which is where I'm from. So yeah, it
Mhm.
was exciting times for me.
Yeah, you guys made the playoffs, and you had an exciting outfield with you, Bryce Harper, Jason Worth, and then after 3 seasons there, you made the move to the West Coast. You came to San
Yeah.
Francisco. So, what was
Yeah.
maybe so appealing about the Giants for you to come over here?
Well, I think the fact that they were, competitive, and
Mm.
they had won what, three World Series in the last 5 years, and somebody once said if you can't beat them, you got to join them. And in 2014, they beat us when I was with
Yeah.
Washington. I was a little, nervous about going all the way out on the West Coast. Never had, obviously played there, but as far as just being a part of an organization like the San Francisco Giants, it was a no-brainer to come there. Like, I think every player, and you've seen it even in free agency, like you're going to consider playing for San Francisco.
Well, where'd you live when you're on the Giants? Were you in the city or?
Yeah, I was in the city. I was single, so yeah, I kind of cool. I think if I had to do it all over again, I probably would have moved maybe a little further out.
Mm.
I feel like I never got that separation from work. I was like too close to the stadium. I literally could see the ballpark
Oh, okay.
from my con window, and I just even like on days off, I feel like I never got that separation. But
Mm. Well, it had to be a little intimidating though, right? When you first signed here and you look at that big alleyway out in right field, was that a little nerve-wracking to figure out how to cover?
yeah, yeah. I mean, and then on top of that, you factor in the weather. I still have nightmares about the summers in San Francisco. My body, I just never could get loose there. But yeah, it was a huge outfield.
Yeah.
Big outfield. I wish that I would have got an opportunity to come play there, like in my younger years. Where my body, it didn't take much to get my body loose, and I could stay loose easily. But yeah, it definitely was a challenge. It was a challenge playing that big outfield. Right center, was huge. I mean, both gaps were huge. Just
Yeah.
a pitcher's ballpark.
Well, what was your relationship like with Hunter Pence, fellow outfielder? Um, a big fiery guy. I imagine you had a great time with him.
Most definitely, yeah. We were locker mates, so I
Mm.
got a chance to connect with him on a daily basis. Just seeing his eccentric personality, and just his crazy outfits he would wear to the field, and he would bring his scooter in
Yeah.
every day. So it was always an event with Hunter. He was always jacked up on coffee and cold brew. which I'm not a coffee drinker. So sometimes, my energy would not match his energy. I'd be like, bro, like I just got here. Like, let me settle in first before you come all in at me. But he just was high energy, the ultimate team guy. He's a guy that, every team needs, in order to be successful. He was definitely the glue and the connector of our team for sure.
Well, in 2017, you got traded from the Giants to the Devil Rays. You're part of the Evan Longoria deal. It was
Yeah.
kind of a homecoming for you, but it was short-lived, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was definitely sadly short-lived.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I was just starting to, kind of get comfortable and get used to being home, and it was awesome. I got, my mom and my, high school buddies and friends and coaches, were getting the opportunity to watch me play on a everyday basis. So yeah, it was definitely, even though it was short-lived, it was a lot of fun.
And then you went to Seattle. And I got to ask, just because when you look at the numbers, you had such a
Yeah,
great power year, too. You hit 11 home runs. The most you ever hit in a season was 12. So
yeah.
to go out on a year like that, did you want to retire, or what went behind walking away from the game?
Definitely didn't want to retire. I had no intentions of retiring.
Uh,
After the 2018, I went to work as normal as usual as every other off season. I felt like I had played well enough to get a pretty decent contract or a
yeah.
pretty good contract. Let me say that.
Hmm.
And the the free agent market was the way teams were operating was a lot different than what you're seeing this off season. And so yeah, it just was a situation where the offers weren't favorable, and it didn't make sense to me. And it wasn't so much that it wasn't so much where I didn't feel like I was worth a certain amount or anything like that. It just was like, look, man, I was healthy. I played really well. I played pretty darn well, and I just want what I feel like I deserve. Now, if I would have had if I'd have been hurt or had a bad season, then I would have been all for signing a minor league contract or signing a very low major league contract to go and prove that I can still play at this level. But after what I did in 2018, I didn't think that I needed to prove anything.
Yeah.
So it and then factor in where my life was at. I just had my second son, so for me, it was about principle. Maybe ego was involved a little bit. Unfortunately, but yeah, for me, it just didn't make sense. I didn't think it was right. I didn't want to put myself. I didn't want to sign something I didn't feel great about, and then go there and not be happy and not be
Mm.
and be a cancer to a team or anything like that. So for me, I just chose my family. It was the most difficult decision that I've ever had to make because baseball has and was my everything. And to put my family first, that I think that's honorable. But yeah, it's something that was difficult for me for sure.
I got some fun questions to end on. Um,
Okay.
so we can kind of transition now with that. Number two was your number for most of your career. Was there any
Yeah.
significance for that, or?
Not really. As a young player, coming up throughout the minor leagues and trying to make your way to the big leagues, when you get put on the 40 man for the first time, obviously you go to big league spring training.
Hmm.
And I don't know if you've ever been to a big league spring training
Yeah.
game and you see, most of the young players have, number 60 and up, right?
Yeah.
And so my first spring training, I don't know, I was in double A, got put on the 40 man. I show up to spring training expecting number 95 or 98. And I don't know whose idea it was, but they gave me number two.
Yeah.
And that kind of just stuck with me. I didn't wear number two growing up playing or had no significance. But the fact that, they gave me a pretty solid number, as a young double A minor league prospect, it just stuck with me.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's a good number too.
Most definitely, most definitely.
Well, when's the last time you stepped in a batter's box? Like, is the swing still looking all right, or?
Honestly, I've had no desire, man. I really have. I don't know if it's I think it's a combination of I truly believe I emptied my clip, even though I still feel like I had more baseball left in me, another
Hmm.
couple more years I could have played. Or I felt like I could have played, but during my time from the age of 18 to 35, like I truly can look myself in the mirror and say I didn't cut any corners, and I gave everything I had. So that's one part of it, and another part of it is too, like it still does sting a little bit that my career ended the way it did.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, not really. I haven't, I've messed around like with my kids, as t-ball and t-ball games and stuff like that. But like actually, competitively tried to even hit batting practice. No, I haven't done that.
Oh, okay. Well, a fun one I got for you is all the stadiums you played in. What stadium would you say has the best clubhouse and dugout? And then what stadium has the worst one? I think I know what the worst one is, but I'll let you say.
Yeah, the worst one definitely probably have to be Oakland for
There you
sure.
go.
Is that what you were thinking
Yeah,
too?
that was my guess.
Yeah, Oakland, sure. I guarantee you, if you took a poll, I'd probably be unanimously.
Yeah.
That's funny. And then best one easily, Yankee Stadium.
Oh, okay.
Stadium's up there. I mean, the both New York's, the Mets Stadium, clubhouse and dugout is spacious and big. Believe it or not, Washington as well, the Nationals, the
Oh,
big
okay.
club, big dugout as well.
Well, you're famous for unintentionally hitting your mom with a foul ball. So, you spoke about having some memorabilia from your career. Did you ever get to keep that ball? And luckily she was okay. But
Yeah. Luckily, I always say, luckily, I was the one that was hitting. If it had probably been, 99% of any other big leaguer, they probably would have, sent her to the hospital for real. No, I did not get that ball. That ball is probably, still circulating somewhere around, but I do
yeah,
not have it in my possession. If I could go back and grab it, if I would have known it was going to, have as much stir as it did, I definitely would have tried to keep that ball and sign it and give it to my mom.
gotcha. Yeah, it'd been a good little keepsake there.
Exactly.
Well, all the people you've met along the way, who do you think would be a good guest for me to have on? Maybe they're a good storyteller or just someone fun to be around.
Um, I don't know. I have to put some thought into that. I don't know. Yeah,
Okay.
off the top of my head, I'm not sure yet. Who's been the last couple interviews you've had, or who have you?
Yeah. Well, actually, I had Matt Williams the other day, your old manager, and he was awesome.
Right.
And then Ray Durham. I had Bruce Bochy, Matt Cain, a lot of guys you played with. Football wise, we've had Jerry Rice, Steve Young, so had some good names lately.
Nice,
Yeah, so it's fun to add you in the mix.
nice, nice. Do,
Yeah.
do you work? Do you work for anybody yet, or as of right now?
No, I do it for fun.
Oh,
Yeah, so
that's
I don't do it to get rich or to get money. I just do it to have fun and talk to
yeah.
people that I like and grew up watching.
But if you just so happen to get famous and get rich, that wouldn't you wouldn't object that either, though, right?
No, that's why everyone's like, "Oh, are you gonna do this? Are you gonna do that?" I feel like if I'm not forcing anything, maybe something good will happen. So I'm just
That's
trying to be low key and not force and see what happens.
I like that. I like that approach.
Yeah,
I like that
yeah,
approach. That humility that you have. Yeah, I think if you have that mindset, I think good things are going to come from this, no matter what. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Well, fingers crossed. And if I do get famous, you'll be the first guy I call, though. We'll do another
Hey,
one.
don't just be fluffing me up right now.
Yeah.
You better call me
No, well, it was great to have you on, Denard. And what else is on the agenda today? Do you have any plans or?
today. I have to just run a few errands here. Got school runs with the kids. Um, and I got a little work a little hitting seminar thing that I need to attack
Oh,
for the
cool.
job at the Rays. So
Awesome.
that's
Well,
about it for today.
well, I'll let you go. One last name. I forgot I had Paul Konerko the other day. Do you remember him?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, my
Yeah,
my days with the Twins. Is he from NorCal or no?
no, he's from Arizona. He lives in
Arizona.
Scottsdale. Yeah, really cool guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He man, he could hit, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember always playing a lot of no doubles when he would come up when I was with the Twins. Man, he would kill us.
I feel
Really
like
good.
he should be in the Hall of Fame. I hope he gets in one
He's
of these
very,
years.
yeah, he's very, very. what's the word I want to call it? Like very slept on. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Very low key. Had a
yeah.
low, like really good career. You know what I mean? That people don't talk about. I
Kind of
think
like a
because he
Fred McGriff, you know?
flew under the radar. You know what I mean? Just an all around good player though. I gotta look at his numbers. I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure he's got to be up there as far as like you said,
I think
being a Hall of Famer.
I think he has 400 and like a little over 450 home runs, right around there. So I hope he gets in.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. People don't talk about him.
yeah. Well, Denard, seriously, thanks for coming on. I enjoyed watching you. I can still see your picture, like when they put it on the jumbotron at the Giants games. I can still
Yeah,
see it. It's good to have you on, and had a lot of fun getting to know you a little bit.
I appreciate it, man.
Awesome.
And good luck with everything, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Have a good day. I'll let you go.